I'd like to welcome Katrina George and her team for the Department of Education. Elizabeth. Katrina and Elizabeth are going to spend some time talking to you about Teach Queensland, and then we'll break for lunch. And again, as I said, you'll get to the end of the session and people will be burning to have some questions, etc. But we'll have some lunch, and then the afternoon session's all about Q&A. Okay, welcome and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Stand up easy.
Hi everyone. So I'm from the HR team at the Department of Education, and Elizabeth will jump in shortly. She's from the recruitment area, and she's also on secondment from her school as head of department on the Gold Coast. So thanks for joining us today. I think big congratulations to your uni for putting this on, because networking is obviously really important for you as beginner teachers. We'll just do a short acknowledgement of country. I respect the traditional owners of the land we gather today. Pay my respects to the elders past, present and emerging, for they hold the memories, the traditions, the culture and hopes of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people across the state. I recognise their connection to country and their role in caring for and maintaining country over thousands of years. May their strength and wisdom be with us today. So great that you've chosen teaching, and obviously we're here today to talk to you about teaching for the Department of Education and getting this far, and you're all in different areas of years for study. Teaching is you know, a well-regarded and professional role that you play in the community. And it's great that you're all from all different walks of life. Teach Queensland is part of the Queensland Department of Education and focused on ensuring that students in Queensland have access to the teachers they need, regardless of where they live. The Department of Education is responsible for all Queensland state schools, as well as the early childhood and training sectors across Queensland. I'm just going to play you this video.
I would firstly like to acknowledge the traditional custodians.
Can I go back? Go back. Can we get volume at all? Let's see if we can get some volume. Yeah, maybe through here. Let's see. By now. Oh, sorry, I'm going forward. Oh, it's not actually wanting to play now. Yep.
I would firstly like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands, seas and waterways across Queensland. And I extend my respect to elders past, present and emerging. Congratulations on choosing teaching as your first or next career. It's an incredibly rewarding profession to be a part of, and one where you can make a difference for our young people every day. You see, I speak from first-hand experience. I was a teacher and I will always consider myself to be a teacher. It's something I am enormously proud of, and it's something that as the years pass, I've grown to appreciate more and more. From teaching, I moved into the role of principal, and now I am privileged to lead the Department of Education, which delivers high-quality education to nearly 70% of all Queensland school students, making us the largest employer of teachers in the state. With more than 1,260 state schools across Queensland, we offer a wide range of teaching and specialist roles in kindergarten, primary, secondary and specialist education settings in some of the most beautiful and culturally diverse communities in Australia. No matter where a student learns or what factors have shaped their start in life, a high quality education is the key to unlocking a brighter future. We strive to achieve equity and excellence through education by providing every student with every opportunity to realise their potential. Our state school teachers are absolutely critical in helping to ensure this. We achieve this by welcoming good teachers into our team and supporting them at every stage throughout their careers to become great teachers. If you, like me, share a passion for education and a desire to make a real and lasting impact on the lives of students and the future of your community, you've come to the right place. Our department is committed to being the best performing education system in the world. And to do that, we need the world's best model of support behind you, our teachers. That's why we're working towards the establishment of a new institute that invests, supports and connects teachers with world-class professional learning opportunities. In Queensland, our beginning teacher salary is one of the highest graduate salaries in the country, and our teachers who live and teach in rural, remote or regional schools have access to a wide range of additional benefits and financial incentives through our recognition of Rural and Remote Service Scheme. This includes our beginning teacher benefit for teachers commencing their careers in these communities. It is truly an exciting time to be part of the Department of Education. We know that high-performing educational systems invest in leaders and teachers to build their capability, confidence and pathways for a rewarding career. And we are committed to doing just that. I hope you seriously consider joining our state school team so together we can continue to improve educational and life outcomes for every young person.
There's just a few little facts. 1,262 schools, 55,000 teachers, 571,000 students and one bright future. Just a few little facts. 70% of all Queensland school-age children are enrolled in the state schooling system. As I said, that's over 570,000 students. We're one of the largest employers in Queensland with 95,000 employees, including 95% of our workforce is school-based. So this includes teachers, school leaders, administration staff, teacher aides, paraprofessionals, cleaners and grounds people. 4 new state schools were opened this year. Ripley Central State School in the Metropolitan Region, South Rock State School, Wagara Creek State School and Palmview Secondary College. We also welcome Norfolk Island Central School as a Queensland state school. So why Queensland state schools? Teaching is a growth profession in Queensland. Get paid to live and work in some of the most beautiful locations in Australia. And I'm just going to add, and I said that before to some of you that actually spoke to me, on our Teach Queensland website, there's some really great videos of teachers that have moved to different locations around. So if you are considering that, and we'll talk about that later, listening to some of their diversity and their stories may resonate with you. Teachers are in demand nationally, internationally, and of course across Australia. And Queensland is a great place to work, live, and we need great teachers in each of these locations. With the growing population, increasing enrolments in schools, as well as building new schools means we need more teachers. So big shout out for you all with your studies. 25 new schools since 2015. So, and also 2 new schools, Redland Bay and Bellbird Park, will be open next year. So more schools are coming. So here's a map, and this is a really good snapshot of our regions, which we'll have Elizabeth talk through our application process. But this is, we are divided into regions. So that's really important to understand those regions when you are going through our application process. 60% of our schools are located in rural, remote and regional communities. We've also broken up metropolitan into north and south. It used to be combined. So Our school locations are generally categorised based on their key characteristics and access to good services and the opportunities for social interaction. Terms you'll often hear with regards to the location of our schools are metropolitan, regional, rural and remote. Over half of our schools are located outside those metropolitan centres and cities such as Brisbane, Townsville, Rockhampton, Toowoomba, Cairns. Teaching in a rural community does not always mean that there is limited access to services or larger communities. And that's where I think those videos will be really helpful. Some coastal communities and locations within easy driving distance of Brisbane or other metropolitan centres are classified as rural schools. So we'll get onto that when we talk about the locations. So across Australia, we have a number of schools within identified Indigenous communities, as indicated. Some of these are located a short distance from a major metropolitan and regional centres, such as Yarrabah, which is less than an hour from Cairns, and Cherbourg, which is about an hour from Gympie. So you may or may not have heard of some of them. Western Cape College, which is is in Weipa, is one of the largest schools with approximately 1,000 students. Some of these are the most remote schools that we have, and some are closer to Papua New Guinea than they are to the Queensland mainland. So a really amazing opportunity if that was of interest to you when you graduate. These communities are some of the most beautiful and unique locations within Queensland and probably Australia. Education is highly valued by these communities, and teachers in these locations are often warmly welcomed. Listening to some of the stories of some of the teachers that are from them, they're like celebrities. So you want celebrity status. A little bit of salaries. I think this, speaks for itself. The starting salary, which is what everyone wants to know, as you heard in the video, is approximately $81,000 per year, and one of the highest starting salaries in Australia. There is a commitment to further increases in these salaries over the next few years, including a 4% increase, which was in July this year, and a cost of living adjustment payment each year over the next couple of years. So that's really important at the moment. As well as competitive salary, our teachers also have a generous superannuation, 12.75%, and access to Queensland Government salary packaging schemes. So some of the things that apologies.
Not at all. If you're online, please make sure your microphone is turned up.
Welcome to teaching. This is what it's like in my class. Dealing with pardon? Yeah. I'm not afraid that we managed to get up on the dashboard. I'm not sure we get my room. Yeah, you'll have it on your track.
I might be
Is that better? I'll keep going.
Oh.
Even though I have fallback. In addition to your... Should I start talking?
like to say to my laptop, I know what I'm doing, but I'm not going to have my laptop. I'm sorry for him.
Yeah, eat jelly beans, so just pause for a moment.
It's good to talk.
I can't do the sign, I'm sorry.
Just testing 1, 2. Oh.
Is that better?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So we're back to what we offer. New beginner teacher benefits, financial allowances for rural and remote locations, assistance with relocation and transfers. That's really important for a lot of those that are moving to a different location. Subsidised accommodation in some locations, broad range of leave entitlements and flexibility. So if you accept an offer of employment that requires you and perhaps your family to relocate to another area, we will help you move, including paying for removalists and travel costs to get you there. Similar support is provided when you transport or relocate to another school community during your career. There might be a few little myth busters in the past. I think people were saying they had to drive them, pack up their house themselves. People have removalists come in and, so if you're sort of scared about that, there'll be people that will help you actually move. It's some of our school communities have access to departmental accommodation, which can be offered to teachers at a significantly discounted rental rate. The accommodation costs and options will vary depending on the community and your circumstances. So, for example, single teachers are often able to access shared accommodation with other teachers, while teachers with families may have access to their own house. Our teachers have access to a broad and generous range of leave options. So leave for family responsibilities, paid parental leave, long service leave, study leave, special leave for compassionate grounds or sporting competitions or jury duty, special leave for kinship obligations, and extended periods of unpaid leave for family responsibilities. So lots of options there. While permanent and full-time employment options are the most common in our schools, we also offer temporary or contract opportunities, usually backfilling someone who is on leave, part-time and job share, and casual and relief teaching options to enable people to manage their personal responsibilities. Casual and temporary teachers are a very important part of our workforce and enable our schools to respond to changing workforce needs. Currently, the daily rate for casual teachers is approximately $420 per day. It's always an important one. Won't go too much into these regional, rural and remote benefits, but I'll just add that if there is something, if you really would like to have a conversation and it's not for Elizabeth or I to answer all your questions, we will then actually direct you to the right person who will get back to you. And our promise to you is that they will get back to you and someone will talk you through this, because there is quite a lot to consider. So if you have specific questions and we aren't able to answer today, so, career advancement, and there's some back to the great videos on Teach Queensland website about, teachers that have gone rural and remote and, progressed their career a little bit sooner, financial benefits, lifestyle benefits, and other benefits. So some of the great live stories are those close-knit communities that they've formed in regional or rural remote locations. Just briefly, benefits can include a financial benefit on top of your salary for you and your dependents to compensate for the cost of travelling to and from your community. Additional cash incentives if you extend your stay in your chosen community. Locality allowance, which is a specific allowance of funds for your particular location. So sometimes it's hard because you don't know what location you want to go to. Also to research Queensland and see if there's any particular lifestyle choices that you are looking to make. There's a rural and remote incentives calendar on Teach Queensland website to calculate the potential benefits you may be entitled to in the locations you are considering and based on your personal circumstances. So that's actually a really good exercise if you want to go on to Teach Queensland and have a look at and go through that calculator. Once again, if you can't navigate that, we're here to help or get one of our regional and remote staff to get in touch with you. I did have some booklets that I think most of them took, and they do outline it nicely. So support for beginner teachers. So we have a beginner teacher induction program, beginner teacher online learning suite and resources, access to a trained mentor when you start, regional professional development and networking events, and that's really important for particularly beginner teachers, and support through the Education Futures Institute, which was actually launched this year. So this is a lot of online professional development for teachers. And lastly, scholarships. So for those, I'll briefly touch on those. Offer a range of scholarships and grants that support pre-service teachers each year. If you're considering teaching in a rural, regional or remote community, we recommend undertaking a professional experience placement in one of these communities to get a feel for the, I guess, what it would be like. It's a great opportunity to see if it's the right opportunity for you. The Regional Professional Experiences Grant was offered for the first time this year and provides up to $3,400 to pre-service teachers undertaking a placement in eligible schools in regional areas. TR2 and TR schools in I'm not going to in some of those TR2 and TR3 schools, those are all also outlined on our website. So I also encourage you to spend quite a bit of time on that, maybe add it to one of your favourites so you can refer to it, because it is our sort of point of truth. And then for applications for 23 have closed, but for 2024, if you're considering one of those regional professional experiences grants. So I'm now going to hand you over to Elizabeth, who's actually from recruitment, and she's going to talk you through the recruitment process.
Sure. Thank you. I'll just explain before I start this. I've been working in Queensland State Schools since last century. So I started teaching on the Gold Coast in a primary school in 1998. I'd like to say when I was 12, but I wasn't 12. So I've been teaching in Queensland. I've worked in different parts of the state, and I've worked across every age group from prep up to year 12, and I currently am in a high school. So this is my 11th year based in a high school. As Katrina explained, I've been seconded. I've been borrowed from my school to work with the Education Queensland recruitment team. So I'm there supporting them with the teacher perspective. So my role in schools, I'm the head of department teaching and learning, so I'm not a faculty head of department. I support all our pre-service teachers, our beginning teachers, early career teachers. So this is a pretty comfortable space for me, and being able to look at what the department does and how you get into the department when it's people and students like you that I pretty much work with when I'm not teaching. So that's just so you know that that's where I'm coming from with this. So the department, the HR team has actually decided to get a teacher on board with the recruitment, which I think is a really nice idea, because I do live the school world, and I'm back at my school next week to actually do some work with my first year teachers. So I'm still in that space, and I absolutely love it. So first of all, welcome to this profession. It is one of the best jobs ever. You will have some of the best stories you can ever share with people, and people will be amazed at what actually happens in your day. I love it. I've now been doing it for sort of 25 years. And yeah, welcome. It's a great job. And I'm also on the panel this afternoon, so we can talk about that then. So Queensland, earlier this year, so actually not earlier this year, just before the school holidays, before the Queensland Fair. Did anyone attend the fair? Yep, so you might have seen me there. What we launched was a new applicant portal, which is quite new compared to how it used to be to apply for work in Queensland. So that's what we're going to look at now. So what they've actually done, and I will be really honest, the previous situation was you applied to different regions. So of those 8 regions that we saw, that's what used to be the case. Now, if you are after any job with the Department of Education, you come through basically one front door. It's really streamlined the process, and I am again working with that team that's part of rolling out that program. So you can be on there whether you're a first year education student or whether you're about to finish, or whether so you guys now could actually get on tonight and put your application in. We'll obviously be waiting for some of your information, like your academic transcript and also your College of Teacher registration, but there are recruiters at the moment that can be speaking with you even if you're a mid-year grad. So what it allows us to do is see that, you know, in 3 years' time, we've got a lot of people coming through that are prepared to go to regions. So that's what I'll talk to you about. Who are you? What I'm also going to point out to you is I've been part of this process of looking at people's applications, and I've seen quite a lot of the glitches or the, I wouldn't say errors, but there's things people are not doing that are actually holding up their application process. So once it comes into the system, it's usually processed within a week if you have done and included everything we need. So things like people having missing addresses, that actually holds up the process, meaning someone needs to send back to you, can we please have your address? So it's really important when you're on the portal to actually give us all the information that we're asking for. What you can teach. This has also been really simplified. It used to be a piece of paper that you then scanned and emailed to us. Now we've moved on to the portal and you can actually tick all the bits that you are qualified or will be qualified to teach. So I've practiced on it a lot when we were in the trial phase. I decided to become a different specialist and just see what happened, and it drops down subject areas. So particularly if you're a high school teacher, it will drop down based on the subjects and you can choose the particular subjects. There's also an opportunity to look at what you're interested in teaching versus what you're qualified, because that can be something that's considered as well. Where you want to teach. Now, this is really important. So again, some of the ones I've seen lately, people say anywhere. If you are really only interested in one region, please just tell us that, because what happens is our recruiters ring you thinking that they might be able to offer you some opportunities, and then people say, actually, no, I only want to go here. So it's really okay for you to say, I am only able to or interested in working in this region. Makes it faster for us and easier for you as well. When can you start? So most of you, if some of you in here are mid-year graduates, please just put that on. And like I said, people doing a 4-year degree can actually sign up as first-year pre-service teachers if they want. And what kind of work are you looking for? So are you actually looking at full-time? Are you only interested in relief teaching? Because once you're processed through the applicant portal, you get sent off to our relief team. Are you only interested in casual, part-time? There's a lot of options. Again, you just have to pick them. What you'll also be able to do, it's about to happen, is you'll be able to go in and adjust these online. So if your life circumstances change, family circumstances change, you can actually go in, you might be able to change your regions. That's not happening just yet, but that is part of what the portal will be allowed to do. So you're not stuck with the one decision that you made, because sometimes life gives us some different opportunities or gives us also a curveball. So there's lots of things, but you need to fill that in, okay? The Teach Queensland, there's actually a part that will take you straight through to it. There is also on there 4 questions. So these questions are actually really important. So there's 4 questions on there, and they actually come from the Education Queensland teacher role description. So there's a role description online that you can look at. There's 4 questions. Okay, those questions may be used to be sent out to school principals. So you actually need to put in an answer. The people I've been working with, the first year teachers I've been working with, I've said maybe about half an hour. Okay, people that have also done their, when you've done your final folio at the end of your end of your degree, a lot of people, those answers that they've written there, they've kind of copied and pasted it in and adjusted it a little bit. It's actually okay. So there is a difference between the answers we'd be expecting from graduates versus the answers someone like me who is coming through the portal would be expected to write. So don't think that, again, because you're a graduate that we're looking at you. We're looking at you differently. We are differentiating how we're looking at you. So please, there's a word limit on it. We don't need 10,000 words, but 1 or 2 sentences doesn't really tell us what we need. As a teacher who works in currently year 9, I am very good at finding people who cheat. ChatGPT, if you need to use it again, but when we are looking at applications and people have really similar answers, there's a lot of resources that you can use. It's not a memory test. So look on the website, look at the units that, look at your university work. There's nothing wrong with that. I have lots of information. I don't know all of it. I know how to read and find information to use. So I do that myself as a teacher. It's okay to do that. And if you need some help, give us a call. So I've had a few calls from people panicking that their answers, go with what you know, possibly more than 2 sentences would be useful. And like with Cath Ed, you're actually showing us what you know. It could be looked at by a principal if your application is sent out to a school. So I ask that you take that part of it quite seriously because it is something that is looked at. But also don't freak out over it. It's okay. And there's not a correct answer for some of them. There's a variety of parts of your answer. And some people that have said to me who are graduates or students are really worried that they're getting the wrong answer. There is nothing that you haven't done in your pracs or in your lectures and your classes that isn't relevant. So we know that you're not a teacher yet. You may not have written unit plans. You may not have dealt with some challenging behaviours yourself, but you've been in classes where that's happened. So you can actually say, I would do this, or these are the things I've seen. It's okay. So just share your experiences, but please take a look at those 4 questions that we do have on there. Any times, that's what I was saying before, please apply at any time you want. Today would be good. It is a very busy time for us at the moment with schools. Our recruiters are really busy. So what schools are doing is actually looking at their timetables. They look at future student enrolments. There's a lot that is happening in schools at the moment. So when Katrina mentioned before going out and doing those placements in regional areas, sometimes that's when people actually get offered jobs. So if you go out and like an area, there can be work that comes up. So schools at the moment, again, are doing a lot of planning for next year. This is a very, very busy time for us in recruitment. I quite like, are there many of you that are mid-year grads next year? That's also quite a good time to come in. It's not quite as hectic, but also schools know their vacancies. So we encourage you to do that. So this is actually what it looks like on the phone. They did a really good job of checking that it was still accessible on a hand device as well as on a big screen. And there's a bit that says apply now. So I've applied even though I actually have a job, and my application is still sitting there, and I can keep going in and having a look at it. So it just sits there. You don't have to complete the entire application in one go. Life is busy. If you have children, if you have to go to work, the phone rings, you can answer a question and save it and come back to it at a later date. So it's okay. It's not something that once you get in, you have to start again from scratch. I know that your university lecturers would have told you this, but there still seems to be surprises that people say to us, yes, I've applied, but they actually mean with QCOT. So again, Queensland College of Teachers is different to the Department of Education. And whether you work with us or Cath Ed or any of the independent schools, you actually need your Queensland College of Teachers. And as someone in a school who oversees all new teachers into our school, one of the first things we do is check their QCOT registration. Okay, so again, I know universities have told people this multiple times, but I'm still surprised when my 4th years go, yeah, I've applied, but they're looking at the wrong thing. So please, QCOT can actually happen before you graduate. So I encourage you in your sort of last semester to start putting in the documentation that you need. If you're looking at how many graduates we have across the state coming into Queensland from the end of the academic year ready to start on student-free days in mid-January, there's a lot of work that gets done at QCOT. Okay, so what I have found with my pre-service teachers is they can actually get a lot of that documentation in with QCOT first. Then you're again waiting on your final transcript. That's usually it. Okay, so please, you need this before we will actually allow you to step into a classroom in Queensland. And I have had teachers who we've had to delay them stepping in because their QCOT hasn't come through. Okay, so that's a really important one, and it's part of how we keep the integrity with our profession. This is the Teach Queensland site. So again, we have people talk about Department of Education, Education Queensland. Teach Queensland has its own sort of offshoot. And this is where, Katrina spoke to some of you before, this is where I'm even on this, so I get all the email alerts about new information about events that are coming up. And then from this site, you can get onto the applicant portal.